Our top stories tonight: the succession debate dominates the ANC's provincial birthday celebrations.
I had no chance to say goodbye to romance. I had no time to...
Tributes stream in for legendary jazz singer Tandi. Well, this is eNEWS Direct Weekend Edition. I'm Flola Dwaba. Very good evening to you.
Hello and welcome. I'm William Laha.
You can track our main stories using the following hashtag ANCKZN105 and Tandi.
You can also comment on any of our stories by following us on Facebook and Twitter at eNEWS Direct, or check our content on our website, eNCA.com/direct.
But first, we start with this. The ANC succession battle has taken centre stage at the party's provincial celebrations today. The ANC's 105th celebrations in KwaZulu-Natal and the Eastern Cape have been used to discuss the burning issue. The party's Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa was the keynote speaker in Mthatha. He's called on supporters to resist corruption and safeguard public resources. Ramaphosa has urged ANC members to elect leaders they trust. Succession was also a talking point at celebrations in KwaDukuza. President Jacob Zuma stole the show there by making an unannounced visit. He's taken a thinly veiled swipe at his deputy Cyril Ramaphosa. Zuma has criticized those lobbying for leadership positions in the ANC ahead of the party's policy conference in June. Can I ask?
Sifuna yabona ukuthi lezi lesishoyo manje sifuna ziyoxoxwa nalentathu kuyiwa kwi-policy conference mawuphela uJune. Ake siye ukuxoxa ukuthi ubani ozoba yini. Siyeza leso sikhathi. Asisho ukuthi abantu bangasho ngoba idemocracy kodwa uyisho kanjani. Ngoba nalokho kuyasho ukuthi umholi onjani. Umholi obumbayo noma umholi ohlukanisayo. Ngoba singabaholi ngabaholi.
Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma appears to be a front-runner as the ANC leadership race heats up. But some political analysts say the party's quest for a female leader isn't based on sound reasons. President Jacob Zuma is due to step down later this year when the party elects new leadership.
The party is not short of women leaders, among them Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, Baleka Mbete, Lindiwe Sisulu, Nasiviwe Mapisa Ngakula, and Naledi Pandor. They all have formidable struggle credentials. But Dlamini Zuma appears to have gained traction as a candidate for party leader.
President Jacob Zuma is looking for someone who's going to take over from him, who is not going to trouble him when he's in retirement. Remember, here you're dealing with a man who is facing more than 700 possible charges that are hanging over his head. So he would want someone who is going to protect him. The fact that they have children together is a big factor in Jacob Zuma's political calculus.
The outgoing African Union chairperson has been endorsed by the ANC Women's League.
She has been in the struggle in her own right, leading in the structures of the ANC, not the Women's League only. And she's recognized in South Africa. She's been holding various positions in government as well as in Africa.
The party has been at pains trying to contain the succession race. But recently, ANC President Jacob Zuma hinted that the party is ready for a female leader.
Nkosazana Zuma, as far as I'm concerned, is part of an old ANC furniture that is no longer shining. She has, yes, occupied a whole range of positions in government and so on. So from that perspective, you could say that she has the necessary experience to occupy the top office. But there is nothing outstanding and exceptional about her.
Meanwhile, ANC chairperson Baleka Mbete has thrown her weight behind the idea of a female leader.
I support the principle that was put on the table by the ANC Women's League because indeed I believe and I support the idea that it's time for the ANC to look at being led by a woman.
And if you are
who that woman will be, watch the space.
I don't think that is presidential material. She's disastrous as well. I mean, we have seen how she failed to manage parliament.
To win any position depends on numbers, because it doesn't matter how formidable you are. If you are not able to marshal enough numbers, you're not going to get anywhere.
The task of electing new leaders is a big one for the ANC. It must ensure that whoever emerges victorious is able to unify a divided party so as to regain lost electoral ground. Kailise Kumalo, Johannesburg.
A Cape Town family is reeling after a deadly attack. 2 members of a Kraaifontein family were shot dead yesterday, while 2 others were injured. Police are investigating the fatal shooting.
It was around 6 o'clock on Saturday morning when tragedy struck a Kraaifontein family, a mother and her 3 sons. 43-year-old Anissa Arison and her 21-year-old were shot dead. Her 14-year-old twin boys were severely injured. Both are in Tygerberg Hospital. One of them is in a critical condition. The family say they're still in shock.
When my dad went to the hospital with his sister, then they find out, and the police actually bring the report to say that it was a suicide, and she wanted to try to kill all her sons. It's so very sad thing for a family like this time of the year.
Police say they've opened a case of murder and attempted murder. Artie Narsi, Cape Town.
Well, there's been a development in the Shiraz Mohammed kidnapping case. A Syrian rebel group has offered to help search for the South African photojournalist. The Nusra Front has questioned the gift of the giver's doctor over his disappearance. Medical staff at the humanitarian group's hospital in Darkush and residents have demonstrated in support of Mohammed. He was travelling to the Turkish border with the gift of the givers on Tuesday when he was captured. His family is devastated by his disappearance. The day before he was captured, he told them he might be detained, but said it was no big deal. Well, elderly women in the Mnganduli area in the Eastern Cape are living in fear. 2 men allegedly killed a 70-year-old woman and injured another, accusing them of witchcraft. Nositele Mkumbini's family bid farewell to their beloved grandmother yesterday. The suspects have been arrested and face charges of murder. Villagers say they threatened to come back and deal with the other woman they accuse of witchcraft.
Saying farewell to a beloved grandmother. 70-year-old Nositele Mkumbini was tending her garden when 2 men armed with sticks and knives ran up and accused her of witchcraft. Her 8-year-old granddaughter was there.
Bathi umakhulu uyozethe ngabula luzoleka wathi umakhulu nyapha uphambene kutata kamba wathi uyamvubuthi uyaphambana wathi utata kama sihambe wathi uchizela kaziwami wavese kwamhlaba ke ukuchizile wathi ke yazi ligqibile igazi ligqibile linye igqwirha.
After the incident, the suspects yelled out the names of other women they accused of witchcraft. One of them was Nomasile Tlaleni. She was out when the men came looking for her at home.
Enhlizweni yami akumnandanga tu andonwabanga ngoba ingathi lanto izophinda ibuye ibuyele kimi ngathi nami ngangena kulapho bhokisi ngoba bathe kubuya kwabo bazobuyela kimi bekwabe ejele.
The 2 men allegedly stabbed and injured another woman before police arrested them. They are behind bars, facing charges of murder.
Uvamisile lapha emakhaya
intetho endithethisa loo nto njengoba kulapha apha phesha kwethu apha ubuwenzekile lo mkhwa bekubule omunye umama ebengcwatywa ebesandula ukungcwatywa iveki yesithathu lencwatyiwe lo mama.
Superstitions in these rural villages are rife. If one family is suffering, they often look to blame others.
Little knowledge is dangerous.
As they say goodbye to their neighbour, many of these elderly women continue to live in fear that they may be targeted again. Sandy McCowan, Nkanduli, Eastern Cape.
Nelson Mandela's grandson has spent the weekend behind bars. Mbuso Mandela was arrested for failing to pay child support. He also faces a contempt of court charge. He's been in prison since Thursday after a magistrate denied him bail. According to a Sunday World report, the child's mother has accused Mandela of squandering his 4 million rand inheritance from the struggle icon. This is not Mandela's first brush with the law. He will be back in court on the 19th of January for a bail application. Well, a woman in the US has been reunited with her biological father 18 years after she was snatched from a Florida hospital. Kamia Mobley was only hours old when she was taken by a woman dressed as a nurse. Her family says they hope their story will encourage others in a similar position not to give up.
For the last 18 years, Craig Aiken clung to the hope that he would one day be reunited with his daughter.
I always thought I'd find it. Always thought I'd find it.
Kamia Mobley was taken from hospital by a woman pretending to be a nurse. Authorities searched for months before the case went cold. 18 years later, Mobley was located in South Carolina, living under a different name. DNA tests confirmed the teenager was in fact the missing baby. And the woman she believed was her mother was arrested and charged with kidnapping and interference of custody.
I'm just not even focused on her. I just hate the girl at a small age had to learn what she did at 18 years old, and I know it's hurting her.
It's feelings that you can't explain this. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to put it in words right now. It's hard to deal with this here right now. You know what I'm saying? We just, like I said, we're trying to process it. Man, 18 years, you know, it's going to be hard to make that up.
The case generated widespread attention and led authorities to pursue more than 2,500 tips. 51-year-old Gloria Williams will be extradited to Florida for trial. She faces up to life in prison.
Let's take a quick look at some other stories making international news. Sudan has announced that it'll extend its unilateral ceasefire with rebels by 6 months. This comes after the United States said it would lift a 20-year-old trade embargo against the country. The US says it'll wait 6 months before doing so. The country says it wants to observe if Sudan improves its human rights record and resolves conflicts. The latest conflicts erupted in 2011 with South Sudan declared independent. And Gambia's president-elect Adama Barrow will remain in Senegal until his planned inauguration on Thursday. He's acting on the calls of West African leaders. They've repeated their calls for President Yahya Jammeh to go voluntarily. He's been refusing to step down. Well, coming up in our entertainment news. Sophiatown music star Tandi is remembered for triumphing over adversity. Do stay with us.
Who art in heaven?
Welcome back. There's been an outpouring of tributes for celebrated jazz musician Tandi. She died at the age of 86. Klaasen may be best remembered for her hit Sophiatown.
It is in heaven.
For many fans, hers was the voice of a generation. Now, jazz legend Tandi has sung her final note. She died on Sunday after suffering a stroke late last year. Sophiatown had a special place in her heart. It wasn't just the name of her biggest hit, but also where she grew up in the 1950s.
Sophiatown was a cradle of creativity, almost what you could call a renaissance in South Africa. It was a time of Netnakasa, the time of the time of Ken Temba, Miriam Makeba, all the creative people, the writers, the poets, all kind of congregated, in Sophiatown. And Clen caught the wind of music and art at a very, very, very young age.
At the time of her death, Clen was battling pancreatic cancer.
My mom died very peacefully in her sleep, surrounded by her family and friends. The house right now, there's a lot of people who are just dropping by and giving their condolences to my family. So I'm very happy to have had my mom and share my mom not only as my mother, but to share with the people of South Africa.
She was no stranger to adversity. When she was a teenager, her face was badly scarred when she was attacked with acid. But true to form, she kept going.
When you look at her when she was younger, the feisty spirit, in her face, that radiance in it, to be able to overcome and to say, I am going to stand deformed and disfigured, as I am, indicates how much she believed in herself and believed, in her talent.
Clen gave her life to jazz and wanted younger generations to continue in her footsteps.
They must learn what they are seeing, and they must never stop because we are passing. But they must be there. It must never, never stop.
Politicians have joined ordinary South Africans in paying tribute to her, saying she defined an era.
Well, that's your entertainment for tonight. After the break, Candace has your weather forecast. Do stay with us.
Need instant cash? Take a look on the bright side. Get a Cash Converters Sunny Day Mini Loan from 400 to 4,000 Rand. Only at Cash Converters.
A cold front brings in some rainfall over the southern part of South Africa overnight as well as into Monday, and then a ridging high pushes in cloud rainfall and cooler weather over the Eastern Cape and KwaZulu-Natal, with a large amounts of cloud and even rainfall in the forecast over the extreme northeastern parts. We'll see a few isolated thundershowers still popping up over the central interior, but with a fine and dry day for the Northern Cape. There's a watch for heavy rainfall over the extreme northeastern and eastern part of South Africa on Monday. It'll be an unpleasant start to the work week along the KwaZulu-Natal coastline, with cloudy, wet and windy conditions expected. Thunderstorms are forecast over the northwestern part of the province, but with rain for the rest of KZN. Cloudy and wet weather extends through to the eastern part of the Eastern Cape, with rain throughout the province. We're forecasting a much cooler day here, with highs mainly in the teens and low 20s. We head into the low 20s along the coast between Plettenberg Bay and Bredasdorp, with the possibility of some rainfall. Partly cloudy and warm for Cape Town and Longavine at 26. Sunny and hot, but with a windy day over the Northern Cape interior. We'll see a few isolated thundershowers for the Free State, with highs in the low 30s over the western parts. We keep in the low 30s as we head towards the northwest, with a slight possibility of thundershowers here. A large amount of cloud remains over Limpopo, with up to a 60% chance of thundershowers, and there's that watch for heavy rainfall over the eastern part of Limpopo and Mpumalanga. 25 for Bombela, Secunda and Emalahleni, with up to a 60% chance of thundershowers and showers. Isolated thundershowers are forecast for Gauteng, Johannesburg and Soweto at 27 degrees, and Pretoria just shy of 30. Things dry out over much of the interior on Tuesday, but things remain cloudy, wet and cool for parts of KwaZulu-Natal, Mpumalanga and Limpopo, and that cloudy, wet and cool weather remains in the forecast for Polokwane and Bombela on Wednesday. Hot over the southern part of South Africa, with a sizzling hot day for Uppington and Graaff-Reinet, with thundershowers developing between those two towns late in the evening. That's all from the Weather Centre for now. Have a wonderful week.
Brighten your day with a Cash Converters Sunny Day Mini Loan. Come in store and we'll put instant cash right in your pocket. Only at Cash Converters.
Right, here's a recap of your top stories. Tribute stream in for legendary jazz singer Tandi. Well, that's a wrap from the eNews Direct team. Thanks for joining us.
Until next time, good night.
Cheers.